Not just one today, but 2 fun ways to reuse drill batteries. It's actually pretty interesting. Take a look. First, I mix a cup of salt water. Don't worry, it's not for drinking. I'm using it for electrolysis, a simple way to clean metal parts that have rusted over time. It's convenient, easy to do, and the results are surprisingly clear. As for the water-to-salt ratio, there's no need to be too exact. Just eyeball it and you'll be fine. The things you need for this electrolysis setup are pretty simple. Nothing fancy at all. Just a piece of wire, a metal clamp, and any small metal object you already have around. By now you can probably tell, these are all easy to find items, nothing complicated. And if you happen to have a rusty metal piece lying around, just follow what you see on the screen in this video. No need to stress about it. Take it step by step, and it should work out just fine. Once the experiment starts, there's really nothing to rush. Just let the electrolysis run its course. And when the reaction is done, that's when we stop. The reaction is done now. Just look at this cup of salt water. It's turned cloudy with a clear green tint. That alone tells you something has happened in there. But the real question is, how effective was it? Let's see how much this rusty drill bit has actually recovered after all that. It really works. Honestly, I was a bit surprised myself. This trick is super quick and easy. Doesn't take much time at all, and you can see the results immediately. So, our first way to reuse the drill battery is done. But don't go anywhere yet, because we still have the final method. And I promise, this one is just as interesting and surprisingly easy to do. Stick around to see what makes it special. No secrets. I'm making a simple welding setup from a spark plug, and to connect the homemade welding tip to the spark plug connector, I'm simply using the metal terminal inside an electrical domino block. It's simple, convenient, and doesn't require any complicated modifications. Can you believe it? This seemingly dead AA battery cell can actually become a homemade welding tip. It sounds impossible at first, but even when a battery can't power regular electronics, it still contains a small, concentrated charge capable of generating heat at the point of metal contact. This means something considered useless can become a surprisingly practical DIY tool. You're harnessing leftover energy without extra cost, and at the same time, witnessing firsthand how electricity and heat interact. In other words, with just a single AA cell that would normally be thrown away, you can both experiment and create a mini welding tip entirely on your own, something most people would assume is impossible. The homemade welding tip is now complete. All that's left is to fit it into its proper place. Simple, yet instantly effective. No complicated tools, no extra hassle. Everything's ready to go. Once the welding tip is in place, the next step is wiring. I'll connect a wire from the spark plug to a metal clamp, which will attach to the positive terminal of the power source. This step is simple but crucial. It ensures the current flows correctly, making the welding tip work efficiently. To protect the connection and work safely, I use tape to secure part of the wire to the spark plug body. This keeps the connection stable and prevents the wire from getting away during welding, making everything neat and easier to manage. Here's a quick tip. You can use an alligator clip as a handle for the welding setup. Touching the tip of the welding plug directly can get very hot and might burn your hand. So a simple handle keeps you safe and gives you better control over the welding tip. For the negative terminal of the power source, we'll prepare a piece of wire. One end connects to an alligator clip, while the other attaches to a metal clamp. This completes the circuit, getting everything ready for a safe and effective welding process. No need to talk any longer. Everything's ready. Let's just test it out right now. Since the battery cell is still a bit new, it's slightly damp. No worries, just let it burn dry for a short while and it's ready to use. The test is simple enough. Compared to a mini DIY welder, you don't need anything like a real professional machine, and it's a success. Looking back, from repurposing a discarded battery cell, assembling the welding tip, wiring it, connecting positive and negative terminals, to securing connections with tape, everything is basic but effective immediately. The interesting part is, you don't need expensive tools, just a few easy-to-find items, some careful hands, and basic electrical understanding. This welding tip not only works well, but also helps you grasp electricity, heat, and the satisfaction of making a tool yourself. Hopefully, this DIY trick sparks more creative ideas for you. And remember, sometimes the simplest things are the most useful.